Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into my in-depth review of Monster Hunter Wilds, the latest entry in Capcom's beloved series. In this video, I'm going to break down the gameplay, highlight what's great about the game, and discuss some of the drawbacks you should know about before you try it. So grab your gear and let's jump right in. And if you're on the fence about jumping in, the early reviews make it an absolute no-brainer. With IGN awarding it a score of 8 and Metacritic giving it a shining score of 90, critics are hailing it as an A-tier RPG experience. Whether you're planning a lean 15-hour run through the main story or gearing up for an epic 47-hour journey to achieve 100% completion, Monster Hunter Wilds unleashes a world of intricate detail and pulse-pounding excitement that captivates and challenges you at every turn. Monster Hunter Wilds represents a bold evolution of the franchise, building on the foundations of Monster Hunter World and Rise. The game's narrative kicks off with a classic tale. You're a hunter in a vast, uncharted land, tasked with investigating mysterious events, a missing child, bizarre monster behavior, and a looming threat over a long-forgotten region. While the story is more prominent than in past entries and features a full cast of quirky characters, it can sometimes feel a bit predictable and even overly detailed at times. Still, it serves as a great introduction to the intricate world of Monster Hunter for newcomers, even if veterans might wish for a deeper, grittier narrative experience. One of the biggest shifts in Wilds is its transition to a seamless open world. Gone are the days of loading screens between separate zones. Instead, you can roam freely through vast, interconnected biomes. This new design not only makes exploration more immersive, but also significantly reduces downtime between hunts. Imagine setting up camp anywhere in the world, quickly crafting, managing your inventory, or even whipping out a portable barbecue to cook a meal right in the middle of a hunt. This level of freedom really transforms the pacing of the game, making every moment feel dynamic and alive. The game introduces a new mount, a raptor-like companion that isn't just a means of travel, but also a tactical asset in combat. Whether you're chasing down a fleeing monster, switching weapons on the fly, or using your mount's mobility to reposition during intense battles, this addition brings a fresh twist to the core gameplay loop. It makes traversing the sprawling open world not only faster, but also more engaging from a strategic standpoint. Let's talk about combat, which has always been at the heart of Monster Hunter. Wilds refines the familiar formula with several smart tweaks. One standout is the new focus mode, a mechanic that lets you lock onto specific monster wounds. By hitting these vulnerable spots, you can trigger focus strikes that deal massive damage and even yield extra crafting materials. This adds a rewarding layer of precision to your attacks, giving you a sense of satisfaction as you see your well-placed blows rip through a monster's hide. Alongside focus mode, Wilds introduces improved defensive options like Perfect Guard and Power Clash. These mechanics allow you to counter or interrupt monster attacks in a fluid, cinematic fashion. Whether you're deflecting a heavy blow or seizing the right moment to strike back, the combat feels both responsive and visually spectacular. GameSpot's review pointed out how these additions make even the heftiest weapons, like the Great Sword and Hammer, feel nimble and fluid during battles. This responsiveness not only keeps the action flowing, but also gives you the confidence to experiment with different weapons and playstyles. Another interesting tweak is how the game handles combos. You can now adjust your footing mid-combo, reducing those awkward moments when a mistimed attack leaves you swinging at thin air. This adjustment may seem small, but it significantly smooths out the combat experience, ensuring that every encounter feels intense and engaging. Now, let's highlight some of the really great things about Monster Hunter Wilds. First up, accessibility. Wilds is designed to welcome a wider audience into the Monster Hunter universe. The main campaign wraps up in around 15 hours, much shorter than previous entries, which means you can get a taste of the franchise's core gameplay without feeling overwhelmed. This streamlined approach is perfect for newcomers or those who prefer a more fast-paced, bite-sized experience. The open world is another major win. The seamless transition between diverse biomes, each with its own unique environmental challenges and weather patterns, keeps exploration exciting. Dynamic weather doesn't just change the look of the world, it actively influences gameplay by altering resource availability and even monster behavior. And speaking of visuals, while there are a few issues, more on that in a minute, the character customization and overall design of the world are beautifully crafted. The attention to detail in armor designs and creature aesthetics really shows Capcom's dedication to making each hunt feel unique. Multiplayer integration is handled brilliantly too. Whether you're teaming up with friends, joining random players via SOS flares, or letting the game's competent AI fill in the gaps, the cooperative experience is smooth and effortless. You can seamlessly drop in and out of hunts without the clunky transitions of past games, which help us maintain the game's momentum. This quality of life improvement, along with extensive UI and cosmetic customization options, gives you more control over your gaming experience than ever before. Of course, no game is perfect, and Wilds has its share of drawbacks. One of the most consistent critiques across all reviews is the overall lack of challenge. For longtime Monster Hunter veterans, the streamlined combat and generous loot drops can make the game feel a bit too forgiving. In earlier titles, every encounter was a nail-biting test of skill and strategy, but here you might find yourself breezing through hunts that used to test your limits. This reduced difficulty could be a major turnoff if you're someone who thrives on the challenge and depth that Monster Hunter is known for. Another area where Wilds falls short is in its visuals. Despite the promise of a gorgeous open world, some environments suffer from low-resolution textures and washed-out lighting. Certain weather conditions, while mechanically interesting, can leave the game looking drab and lifeless, with bland, muted colors that don't do justice to the vibrant world you'd expect from a next-gen title. While there is a high-resolution texture pack available on PC, it's not a universal fix, especially on consoles. These graphical hiccups can break immersion and are a noticeable step back from the visual fidelity seen in previous entries. The narrative, while serviceable, doesn't quite hit the mark either. The storyline is accessible and helps guide you through the gameplay mechanics, but it often feels like a rehash of familiar tropes. If you're a hardcore fan looking for a fresh, groundbreaking story, you might find the campaign a bit underwhelming. It's clear that Capcom's focus was on making the game approachable, and that sometimes comes at the expense of the deep, challenging storytelling that longtime fans cherish. Finally, there's some concern about the post-launch content. At launch, the game offers a limited number of new monsters and challenges, with only a handful scheduled for future updates. This has raised questions about whether the game will maintain its longevity and keep even the most dedicated hunters engaged in the long run. So, what's the final verdict on Monster Hunter Wilds? In short, it's a fantastic, fun, and accessible entry into the Monster Hunter franchise, especially if you're new to the series or prefer a faster-paced, streamlined experience. The seamless open world, innovative combat mechanics, and impressive quality of life improvements make for a very engaging gameplay experience. If you've ever wanted to jump into Monster Hunter without the steep learning curve and extended grind, Wilds is a great place to start. However, if you're a seasoned hunter who loves the deep, rewarding challenge and intricate strategy of past titles, you might find Wilds a bit too forgiving. The rapid progression, simplified gear system, and somewhat lackluster visuals in certain areas may leave you craving the more punishing, detailed encounters of earlier games. And while the story has its moments, it doesn't quite capture the epic weight of previous entries. In the end, Monster Hunter Wilds is clearly designed with accessibility in mind. Capcom has trimmed some of the rough edges to invite a broader audience into the fold. That said, there's still plenty of room for growth, especially when it comes to post-launch content and fine-tuning the difficulty for those who want a true test of their skills. Thanks for sticking with me through this review. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are you excited by the faster-paced, more accessible gameplay of Wilds? Or are you hoping for the old-school challenge that defined earlier Monster Hunter games. Drop your comments below and let's get the conversation started. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and check out our other game review videos. To continue the journey, just click on the video that popped up on your screen now. Until next time, happy hunting, and I'll see you in the next video.